Hello, I'm Scott Linder with Premier Group, brokered by eXp Commercial.
Hello, I'm Deidre Byers with Premier Group, brokered by eXp Realty.
We're here to talk to you about the working with real estate agents in North Carolina disclosure or consumer advisory.
And I guess you're wondering why we disclose. Well, it's required by the North Carolina Real Estate Commission, so that's why we give you this information. It also helps you know your rights when you're buying or selling a home in the state of North Carolina. It also protects you so you know what your real estate agent can or can't do.
Awesome.
And the best thing, it's not a contract. It also does disclose the different types of agency in the state of North Carolina.
This is the working with real estate agents disclosure for buyers. Again, this is not a contract. Signing this disclosure only means that you've received it. In a real estate sales transaction, it's important that you understand whether an agent represents you or not. Real estate agents are required to review this form with you at first substantial contact and give you a copy of it if you choose to sign it. This is for your own protection. Do not share any confidential information with the real estate agent or assume that the agent's acting on your behalf until you've entered into agreement with the agent to represent you. Otherwise, that agent may share your confidential information. It is the duty of an agent to be honest, fair, and disclose any material facts.
So, as we mentioned earlier, there are several different types of agency: buyer agency, dual agency, designated dual agency, and an unrepresented buyer. So, we also have on the seller side a seller's agency, which would be your listing agent who lists your home. Also, again, dual agency, designated agency, and a buyer agent working with an unrepresented seller. Hey Scott, how are you today?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. It's nice to see you. I appreciate you coming by and just chatting with me.
Absolutely.
I wanted to go through some things before we start your home buying journey.
Sounds good. What do you want to talk about?
Well, we have agency in North Carolina, and I have a brochure here to share with you. But first, before I give you that, I'm going to just go through it verbally, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
I'll give you a copy in a little bit. Basically, it's called Working with Real Estate Agents.
Okay.
We are required by the Real Estate Commission to review it with you because it covers all the different types of agency in the state of North Carolina.
Okay.
So let me just run through those and you stop and ask me questions anytime, okay?
Sure, sounds good.
So first of all, we have buyer's agency. So that's where, as an agent, I represent you, the buyer.
Okay.
So for example, when we go to see a home, if we have that agency relationship, then the selling agent represents the seller, and I would represent you, the buyer, in that transaction if we went under contract.
Gotcha.
So basically, the buyer agency agreement, there is another document that goes with it. It's called exclusive agency, and that formalizes our relationship contractually.
Gotcha.
So basically, that states our responsibilities to each other and the length of term, and also it states that I'm your fiduciary and I have to keep everything you tell me confidential.
Okay.
So that's buyer agency
Gotcha.
with exclusive. So basically the next one is dual agency. So that's where an agent represents the seller and the buyer in the same transaction.
Okay.
So that means, to my point, if I take you to see a home that I've listed, and you can't tell me anything about it while you're there, and I can't tell you anything about what the seller said to me because I'm a dual agent.
Gotcha.
So basically, I'm standing in the middle, just facilitating.
Okay. So basically, you become like a referee at that point, and you can't advise me one way or the other.
Correct. That
Gotcha.
is correct. It's a very good way to put it. The next thing we have is designated agency. So as I mentioned before, designated agency is where you pick an agent to represent you. But my firm, eXp, remains a dual agent so that you can see any of and all of their listings.
Okay.
So in other words, if you go see a home listed by an eXp agent, I'm still your exclusive agent. I cannot tell anyone anything. So it just opens up the door for you to see the eXp listings.
Okay.
Then another one that we have is called subagency. That is where, for example, if you went to an open house and you didn't have a buyer's agent, the person that you talk to there is representing the seller, so they are a sub-agent of the seller.
Okay.
So if you want to see a home, call me and I'll show it to you under our exclusive agreement.
Mm-hmm.
That way you don't put yourself in a bad position in speaking with the listing agent.
Okay. So the person at that open house would be representing the seller at that point.
Correct, until you have an exclusive agency relationship.
Gotcha. So it definitely benefits me to get into this exclusive buyer's agency relationship so that it protects me and protects my information.
Exactly, and that's why we go over this document with you.
Okay.
So far we've been talking about working with real estate agents disclosure and how it impacts the buyer and or seller in a transaction. The next step would be to formalize that process with your agent. This can be done with two different documents. One is the exclusive buyer agency agreement, and the other one is the exclusive listing agreement. One is to sell your home, one is to represent you as a buyer. Basically, these agreements are formal agreements that talk about the length of your contract with the agent, how the agent's going to get paid, and also the responsibilities to each other in the transaction.
It's important to note that this may be an exclusive relationship between you and the agent, or it could be a different type of relationship depending on the language of the contract.
Just a friendly reminder, make sure you read and review anything a real estate agent gives you and ask questions. That's what a real estate agent is for, to answer your questions about the transaction and any documents.
Absolutely. And this does apply to both residential and commercial real estate in North Carolina. We appreciate your time. Have a great day.